Hello and welcome to my GFX tutorial. This will be a fairly simple GFX tutorial as we will just be going over pretty much just the basics and we will be adding 3D clothing to this and we're gonna do a little environment and little this and little that, so just keep up with me. It's gonna be a little long tutorial, but I hope you stick with it or just use parts of it so you can just use it whenever you're making a GFX yourself. So obviously we will start in Roblox Studio, and what we want to do is that we're going to use a rig. So usually what I like to do is that I like to go into Toolbox, say R6 rig, and just find a random R6 rig. There you go, has nothing on it. Sometimes I'd like to do a load character. If you got that, use that. So just check that. We want to find a skin color for this rig, so let's just go in here. We're gonna pick a skin color like a little darker than that, a little wider, and yeah, there you go. Now we have it, and we're just gonna select that, copy paste the color here. We're just gonna select every part here, so just hold it and just paste it in here on the color. So now we got our skin color. Now we want to find a face. So what we want to do is that we're gonna hop in here into Roblox catalog. We're gonna say face, just any face that you wish. And sometimes with the new update, there's gonna come a lot of these. So I usually just go into heads and classic faces. And then I just find it here, say we wanted to do, so this is our face right here. What we want to do is that we're going to see up in here, it says it has some numbers up here. We're just going to select those, copy the numbers, go in here, go into the head, and you see it has a face decal. Go up here in texture, paste it in there, and there you go. Now we have the face on it. So what we're going to do is that we're going to just right click it, export selection, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to save it in a place where I keep things organized and I know where things are. So I'm just going to click on where I import all of my Roblox models, save it, done. Now we got the skin color for it. What we're going to do is that we're also going to find some clothes for this guy, so just hit the plus sign here, pants and shirt. So sometimes I'd like to just go in here and I say casual clothes. But what you can also do is that you can also go into the marketplace and you can just find any casual clothing that you want. Classic pants, copy the numbers like we did with the face, go into Roblox Studio, go into the pants and paste it in there. Now we got our pants. There we go. Now we have our character. To begin with, we just want to get the clothes. Since this is a 3D clothing, we're gonna just have everything, export selection, and we're just gonna go in and save it. Tutorial clothes. Just call it anything that you'll remember. Now we're gonna go into Blender, and usually you just start off with this random pink thing, and I've linked the paint rig in the description where you can just pick it off from there and download it. It's 100% safe, so don't worry about it. I've been using it for a year now, so it should be fine. What you want to start off with is that you're going to select the head. Sometimes the moving thing, you can see you have a little moving thing here. Usually it's down here. What you want to do is that you're going to select all your parts, hold shift while you select them, hit object, set origin, and origin to geometry. That's going to put every single time you press something, the moving tool is going to be exactly where the parts are. So we're just going to select our head. We're going to drag down here, and you see it has all this already. We're just going to hit the cross on that, delete it, press new, and hit Shift A, search, image texture, add that here. We're gonna put color into base color, alpha down here into alpha, and we're just gonna open it, and we're gonna open our naked rig. As soon as you've opened it, it should look like this. What you want to do is that you're gonna select everything or all the other parts. Lastly, the head. Hit Control L, link materials, and there you go. Now you have your skin. Now after that, we're gonna select the arms and we're gonna hit Shift D and press. Don't move it around, because if you do move it around, it's gonna look like this. You just move it around and then that's not gonna be good. So and if in case you do move it around, just right click. So that's how you do that. And you're just gonna do the same thing with the other arm and the torso. And we do this because, as you can see on the unit or on the clothes, the skin is visible on this arm, and a little up here on the torso. It's not visible on the legs, therefore we don't have to make 3D clothing on the legs. So that's how we do it. We're just gonna select either one of them, and we're gonna go over here. If you can't see this one, just hit N, and it pulls it up. Go down here to scale, and what I usually like to do is say 1.04, and I just copy that, select the rest, and I paste it. Select the torso, do the same thing, and the other arm. Done. Now we want to move over to putting clothes on this guy. Before we do the clothing part, we have to go into Photo P, and I've also linked it in the description. We want to go into Photo P, we're going to open from computer, and you're just going to open your clothing file. And make sure that it's the image version. So as soon as you open the file, it's gonna have three different options, and you're gonna pick the image one. So now we're in here. We're gonna press this little wand here, magic wand, and we're gonna select all the skin parts. Hold Shift while you select them. All the skin parts, except for the face, and you're just gonna hit delete. Hit Control D to remove the rest. Go over here to the lasso, select the whole face, and delete. And Control D again to remove this thing. Now we have our clothes without skin. So we're gonna hit File, Export as PNG, and we're gonna select it. We're gonna say tutorial clothes for this one. Save. And now we're gonna go back into Blender, and we're gonna find this one. We're gonna press the little duplication thing here, new material, and we're gonna hit the open image, and we're gonna find it in here. Now we have our clothes, and you can see it has a little black image down here. That's because it doesn't have any image down here, so therefore it just goes into black. So we're just gonna go into the materials tab, go down, blend mode. Usually this one is closed, so just go into viewport display, go into blend mode. Instead of opaque, we're gonna pick alpha hashed. Same with the shadow mode, alpha hashed, and there you go. Now we have our little 3D one. So we're just gonna do the exact same thing like we did with the skin. So select all the other parts, not the head, and lastly the other arm, whether the clothes is actually on. Hit Control L, link materials, and there we go. Now what you want to see here is that you want to see a little slight 3D thing here. You can see it's not really very visible because it has these distortion parts here. That's what we're gonna fix now. So let's just go in here. So we're gonna pick the first arm. We're gonna hit object mode down here. We're gonna select edit mode. Now here it picks it makes it bend. It makes a funny bend. It makes it all scuffed. So we're gonna go into data, and instead of bend, we're gonna pick basis, and you can see it goes back to normal. We're gonna do the exact same thing before we move on to the other one. There you go. So back into edit mode, and you want to make sure that this thing is on instead of any of the other one. Just make sure that this icon is blue, and we're gonna hit Control R. It brings these lines, and we're gonna pick the line where we want our 3D clothing to be. So that's, if it's too low, just press it, double tap it, hit Control R again. It's a little higher. Is it enough? No, you can still see a little skin above the line, so hit Control R again. There we go, that should be good. So now we have our line above the skin. So we're just gonna select everything below the line, like so. Just gonna make sure everything is selected. Now we're gonna right click it, we're gonna pick split, right click it again, and click delete edges. Go back into object mode, and there we have it. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the opposite arm. There we go. Now it has a much more rectangle one. It doesn't have any distortion at all, as you can see, but it is paper thin. So to fix this, we're gonna be adding a solidifier. So to do that, we're gonna go into the modifiers tab, add modifier, and solidify. Down here, you see thickness. You can pick the thickness however you like. I usually put it at 0.012. That gives a little more thickness. Just gonna copy that. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the opposite one. Add a solidifier down here, paste it, and done. Now you have 3D clothing. Now you also want to add some fabric to it, otherwise it's just regular Roblox clothing. So we're gonna pick one of the arms, gonna click down, and we're gonna hit Control-Shift-T, and we're gonna find a fabric. Now I've already got a fabric, but I'm gonna link the fabric that I use down in the description so you can download it. There we go. So now we got this little system here. What we want to do is that we're going to take the roughness and peel this little vector one off, go over here, and what I usually do is that I put up the metallic all the way up, and there we go. Now we have some fabric. Now what we want to do is that we're going to also add a little metallic to the face or the skin itself, so just a little bit, nothing too much. There we go. Now we want to add some features to the head, for example hair or beard or whatever. So we're gonna go back into Roblox Studio. We're gonna find some beard, say beard, just any beard. Let's see, stubble beard. Yep, that's good. Stubble beard, that's pretty fucking simple. So we're just gonna pick that stubble beard, right click it, export selection, and save it. Now we want to go back into Blender, file, import, wavefront.obj, and we're gonna find our file. When it appears, you usually can't see the beard. You're like, where is it? It's not here. You try to move it, it's not there. So what you want to do, press object, set origin, and geometry to origin. That brings the beard back to the original position. We're just gonna move it out. If it's reversed, just move it with the scale thing, and that should fix it. So move it up to the face. Just gonna move our little moving tool here up to the face. And we're gonna make sure it actually fits. That makes sense to me. There you go. Alright, now we got some beard on him. Say he's just bald for now, but if you want to add hair, it's just the same procedure as we did with the beard. All done. Now sometimes it also appears white, and how to fix that is that you just select it, go up here, and you delete the orange boxes, both of them. So just select it and hit X. Alright, now we got our guy. Now, when you move it, you realize that the beard is not following. So in order to fix that, you're just gonna select the beard, hold Control, press the row bone, go out here, hold, still holding Control, and hit P, and then press Object. Now every time you move the character, the beard follows. Alright, now we got our character, now we got everything ready. Now we just need some environment. And for this environment, I'm just going to choose a very simple one. We're going to hit Add, Mesh, Plane, and we're just going to hit the select one and just select it, or just scale it up as much as we possibly can. There you go, that looks good. Selecting it, that looks good. And now we're going to head into the Blender Kit option over here on the tabs. Still hitting in case you don't know where to find it. I've also linked Blender Kit in the description so you can find it and use it for yourself. What we want to do is that we're gonna hit materials and we're gonna search up dirt. Very simple one. And if you can't see it, there's a little eye here. Shut down, shut up. There you go. We're just gonna use this dirt because it has puddles, it's nice. We're just gonna select that. And we're gonna select it, left click, and then drag it down to our plane and release. There we go. That looks very great. So what we want to do is that we're going to add some trees to this. But first, we want to find our camera angle. So we're going to hit Add, Camera. We're going to View, Camera, and Active Camera. Now to move this, there's a certain moving technique that you want to do. But if you don't know how to do that, you can also just move it like this with the moving tool and just move it back and rotate it up if you wish. And then always just hit View, Camera, and Active Camera. There you go. Now I'm just gonna edit it a little bit. There you go. Now before we move on, we're gonna select the character, move it a little forward in the front picture. In order to edit this guy, in order to pose him, we want to have an idea of what he's doing. So say he was just walking. He's just walking, maybe he's out hunting even. So we're going to go into Object, Pose, and we're going to select one of the arms and hit the lowest disc, hit Rotate, and just rotate a little bit, you know, each disc. Play around with this a little bit until you get it. And do the exact same thing on the opposite arm. There you go. Now we have it. Now for the legs, we want to move it up a bit so it has a knee. And then we're just going to move it back a little bit. Just play around with the pose. See how you like it. There you go. Back to object mode. And make sure you lower him down to the plane because right now he's levitating. Always lower him down. You can also move the face. In order to move the face, you also have to select the beard because the beard follows with the face. So select both. Hit rotate and just select or rotate a little bit. There you go. That looks great. Let's see on the camera. That looks fine. We can even rotate the guy a little bit. Like this. Now say he was out hunting, so he would have a shotgun, for example. So go into models, hit or right shotgun. Now I have the paid version, so I have every single model, but if you don't, that's fine. You can just pick the ones that you have access to. So say he was holding this one. Alright, you're just gonna, usually they're very much scaled down, so you're just gonna scale it up. Rotate it and just place it in his hand. There we go. Now we have our shotgun. Now what we want to do is that we're gonna add some animals maybe. So for example, he's out hunting, so we're gonna add a deer. Now just play around with these, just add whatever you like to add. and make sure that it's right for you, right? And it makes sense in your Blender. There we go. Now we have our background. Now we don't have a sky yet. So what we want to do is that we're going to head over to, and I've also linked this in the description. It's called Polyhaven, and we're just going to select HDRIs. What you want to do here is that you want to go up to the search bar and write pure sky. This gives us sky without anything or any buildings or anything like that. But for this one, I'm actually just going to use some mountains like this, because that makes sense in our environment. So we're going to say table mountain, download it, and as soon as it's finished downloading, like it is now, go into Blender, and you're going to hit the Worlds tab, and you're going to hit color, this little dot here, and usually it looks like this, but a little smaller of course. And you're gonna hit the environment texture, and then you're gonna hit open, and you're gonna find your file. So mountain, table mountain, right there. Now when you hit this little shader or viewport shading ball here, it shows how it would look in the camera view. For example, here the sun's coming from this direction, which is not really optimal for our situation. So we're gonna circle it back a little bit. We're gonna make sure that the sun is actually shining on his head. So just select everything, and we're gonna rotate it, say 180 degrees. View. We're just gonna move it a little bit to the center. There you go. View, cameras, active camera. And then you're just gonna check it again and again and again until you get the sunlight right. Now, you want to pay attention to the edges, because right now it's pretty empty. So usually what I'd like to do is that I'd like to add either stone or some bushes or maybe something like that. There we go. Now, all we got left to do is just to render it. So go over here, render, and render image.